welcome back to Baby Lawyer, where I dive into the fascinating realm of law and everything related to it. If you are joining this channel for the first time, you're welcome, and do not forget to hit the subscribe button and also the notification button so you'll be notified whenever I drop a new video. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm really sorry for not be dropping videos lately. School stress has been a lot. On today's vlog, I'll be talking on how to answer law questions using the Irac method. Irac method is a structured approach used to answer law questions, and it is the most common method used by law students when answering questions. Irac is an abbreviation. Each letter stands for different concepts. Before delving into how to answer law questions using Irac, it is very important for every student to understand the question being asked. When answering law question, start with reading through the question to get a general understanding of what is being asked. If the question is complex, break it down into smaller parts and identify issues that need to be addressed. Do not be in an haste to answer those questions. Make sure you read it over and over again to get what is being asked. Now back to Irac. As earlier stated, Irac is an abbreviation. I in Irac stands for issue, R in Irac stands for rules, A in Irac stands for application or analysis, C in Irac stands for conclusion. Issue. It is the main legal matter that needs to be addressed. In issue, you can state out the main legal matter by either saying whether or not, whether or that, or if. For example, if you are given a scenario like in law of tort, for example negligence, where party A offers party B a contaminated product which causes harm to party B, you can start answering your question by saying whether or not the manufacturer is liable for negligence when a consumer is harmed by consuming a contaminated product. Then you put a question mark. This makes your lecturer know that you really understand the question, and it boosts your lecturer confidence in your answer. Rules. This is where you state out the relevant laws and other legal principles that apply to the issue. This is where you state out the legal maxims, the judicial authorities, the statutory authorities, and other relevant sources like the Black Law Dictionary, among others. For example, like the issue I mentioned earlier on negligence, you can cite the popular case of Donegwe versus Stevenson. You can also reference the Black Law Dictionary by saying, according to Black Law Dictionary, negligence is referred to as this, as that. Make sure you write all the rules you can remember, reference all the relevant sources you know, and write briefly on them. Application is the most critical part of Irac method. This is where you write everything. This is where you write much, and this is where you analyze how those rules you mentioned earlier applies to the facts of the case. Break down the rules into components and discuss how each element applies to the facts. For example, if discussing negligence, examine duty of care, breach, causation, and damages one by one. Those cases you mentioned in rules, this is where you explain, this is where you analyze how they pertain, how they relate to the issue that we are discussing in the answer. For example, we mentioned Donegwe versus Stevenson. Explain how Donegwe versus Stevenson relates to the issue of the question. Conclusion. This is the final phase. This is where you summarize your findings based on your analysis. This is where you advise the party if you are asked to, and make sure you are direct and clear and be brief. This is not where you write so much. It is in your analysis or the application. You write everything. You give the gist about the facts of the question. Conclusion, be brief and be concise. Don't beat around the bush. Go straight to the point. Another useful tip is to practice regularly. Regular practice helps you become more familiar with what you have been taught in class. The more you practice, the more it becomes to recall and apply them when answering questions. Make sure you practice your past questions. Get familiar with those cases you recite while writing your exam. Lastly, pray. We cannot underestimate the power of prayer. Ask for God's strength, God's direction. pray to God for you to write the minds of your lecturer. Even if you write it well, it's God that will crown your efforts with success. And I pray God will help us all in all our endeavors. That will be all on today's vlog. Anticipate my next video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye. And Happy New Year in advance.